because you are not going to be on the camera.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to EWA Championship Wrestling. I'm Roadhouse Lou, joined today by the likes of Joshua Shea. We've got a half-hour jam-packed of terrific wrestling action, along with, I'm dismayed to say, some exclusive footage of the vicious attack on Mr. USA Tony Atlas, which occurred just last week. Unbelievable, vicious attack. The man was brutally assaulted by a number of people.
Hey, let's talk about the sponsors before we get into the wrestling action. I want to thank the people at Otis Federal Credit Union and Jay Mean for putting me on TV. I want to thank the great people at the Ski Depot at Mount Abram and Jay for putting me on TV. Now, vicious attack? I don't think so. This is all part of the game. Cowboy Bob Orton is a schooled veteran. Tony Atlas supposedly is. He should have been looking over his shoulder.
You cannot deny the fact that Mr. Tony Atlas is a true gentleman in the name of the game. But we'll let the audience judge for themselves. Let's go up to ringside for opening bout with Slick Wagner Brown and Robbie Ellis.
Well, welcome everybody to Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine. Another exciting night of action with the Eastern Wrestling Alliance. I'm Dan Mason, joined by my broadcast colleague, Joshua Shea. Joshua, it was last week we saw a vicious attack on Mr. USA Tony Atlas by the EWA champion, Master Sandy, and a hired hitman, if you will, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Oh, definitely looking forward to this week's show. See what's going to happen if Tony Atlas has anything to say. Bob Orton has anything to say. We've got Bob Orton in our final match on this show in the main event against Beau Douglas, which should be a tremendous matchup.
Always great to see a legend in action as well. Lightweight action. Robbie Ellis and Slick Wagner Brown in our opener. Jason Rage taking on Jay DiPaolo. And we're also going to get to see the Blue Dream and Brian Walsh squaring one-on-one. Let's go up to Roadhouse Lou in the ring.
And in this match, now making his way to the ring from Jamaica at 190 pounds, he is a member of the Guild. Here is Slick Wagner Brown.
We're ready for our opening contest here with the Eastern Wrestling Alliance. Slick Wagner Brown, a member of the Guild associated with Jason Rage, and Beau Douglas, a group of young men who seem to have Hollywood set in their sights.
Well, I don't know if they're here to wrestle or to look pretty and pick up girls.
And now making their way to the ring is
his
the
opponent
Bowdoin
tonight.
Mascot.
What is
I don't
this?
think so.
What is this?
What? The Bowdoin Mascot's getting in the ring?
It's the polar bear. What is he doing?
Certainly the polar bear is not going to square off with Slick Wagner Brown.
Yeah, I don't know who's under there, but they were smart enough to think twice.
The music can mean only one thing.
He weighs in at 190
The Sports Illustrated
pounds.
legend.
Robbie
Here
Ellis.
is the Sports Illustrated legend, Robbie Ellis.
Robbie Ellis really cheated out of that lightweight title last week. We saw him in action, but he's coming down to the ring with centerfold Steve Ramsey.
And he is accompanied tonight by centerfold Steve Ramsey.
Ramsey's got to watch his back to make sure that Slick Wagner Brown doesn't try to pull anything. Ellis kind of, like you said, didn't get a chance to really show the crowd what he was worth last week in his attempt to regain the light heavyweight title.
Well, Robbie Ellis has been to the top of the proverbial lightweight mountain, so to speak. He's been there before. He wants that gold back, and certainly could vault himself into that #1 contender's position with a win here over Slick Wagner Brown. Although, do you find it interesting, Josh, that he's down here with centerfold Steve Ramsey, another man who wants a lightweight title? Why would these two men be joining forces?
Well, you've got Robbie Ellis, who's a cagey veteran, Steve Ramsey, an up-and-comer. I think they complement each other's styles well. You have Ramsey on the outside to watch Ellis's back. Perhaps we'll see Ellis watching Ramsey's back. There is power in numbers, Dan.
Collar and elbow tie up here in the middle of the ring. Slick Wagner Brown, a rookie, looking for his first win in the Eastern Wrestling Alliance. Ellis has him backed up into the ropes. And he sends him with an Irish whip into the ropes. Misses with an elbow. Misses again. Slick Wagner Brown behind him. Oh! Connected right to the jaw there.
And you've got to wonder, why is Slick Wagner Brown not out here with members of the Guild if Ellis brought Ramsey out?
Well, certainly, Jason Rage and Beau Douglas conspicuous by their absence here. Slick Wagner Brown sends Robbie Ellis into the ropes. Misses on the drop kick. Robbie Ellis one step ahead on that one.
And there's a big rookie mistake.
Ramsey with the snapmare takedown. Or pardon me, Robbie Ellis with a snapmare takedown.
That's okay, Dan.
And an elbow there. He goes for the cover, but that's a pretty nonchalant cover. Robbie Ellis, always a slow, methodical pace in the ring. Takes his time. As Wagner Brown, there's a chop to the chest. What's he doing here? Sends him out, and
oh my Lord! What's Ramsey doing?
Centerfold, time to go to work. What's this? He's got him hoisted up. He put him through the table.
Oh my God!
Slick Wagner Brown goes right through the table.
Is Brown even conscious? That might have just knocked Slick Wagner Brown out.
I've never seen anything like it. Wagner Brown is out cold. Ramsey puts him back into the ring and sets him up for Robbie Ellis.
Oh, that was a hard knee to the stomach. I don't know. This is probably it.
And here comes Kid USA. Kid USA attacked last week.
Now, Ellis and USA have had a long-standing feud, but what's he doing here? He's got nothing to do with this.
And a punch for Centerfold Steve Ramsey sends him flying out of the ring. Kid USA, one of the nice people in the EWA, but you don't want to get them angry. They're going right to work. There you go, the #1 contender, Centerfold Steve Ramsey, and Kid USA, the man he wants to the throne, fighting all the way back up the aisle. I believe we have a replay of that vicious table shot that Slick Wagner Brown took earlier in the match. Check this out.
Here you can see Ramsey setting him up for what looks like it's going to be a gourd buster. Any other day it would be bad. Today it's even worse because you've got one of those tables right there, broken right in half. After that point, you could have simply put one finger on Slick Wagner Brown and it would have been over.
We'll be back. Jason Rage in action. More lightweights as he squares off against Jay DiPaolo coming up on the Eastern Wrestling Alliance.
And if you don't know by now, this is Cowboy Bob Orton gearing up to wrestle the great EWA wrestling stars Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, but baby, right here on Frontier Vision Network 9, you're looking at the best out of all of them.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Eastern Wrestling Alliance.
This is Jay DiPaolo. He's from Cape Fear, North Carolina. He's been wrestling for 2 years. And he's telling me that his last match, he broke a man's neck. So he's coming off. I don't know if he felt bad about it or not. I would be very careful if I was Jason Rage. DiPaolo, new to the EWA. Nobody knows much about him.
Jay DiPaolo, certainly the X factor as far as this lightweight division goes. And we're going to see the leader of the guild, Jason Rage.
And let's hope he fares better than his partner in our last match, Slick Wagner Brown.
He hails from Boston, Massachusetts. He weighs in at 185 pounds. Here is
Jason Rage, before he got his start in pro wrestling, worked as a stripper and part-time playboy.
Well, Dan, let's just hope he keeps those pants on tonight, because I think I speak for the men here where we don't want to see any of that.
Would like to see his sister. You know her as Julie Rage, an adult film star, if you will.
I'm not familiar with that, Dan.
These two gentlemen ready to lock up. Should be an exciting contest. And a knee to the stomach by Jason Rage again. He's got him 3 times. That'll take the wind out of him early. A vicious right hand. And Jay DiPaolo is sent into the ropes and hit with a drop kick. Connected squarely on the jaw of this young Jay DiPaolo, the newcomer.
I don't know if DiPaolo knows too much about Rage. Like we were saying, DiPaolo, a newcomer. He might not have time to study up before tonight's match and find out just how good and how quick Jason Rage truly is.
Well, we've talked about Kid USA and Steve Ramsey being the #1 contender, but you really got to look at Jason Rage as the dark horse in the division.
Oh,
this guy's got a ton of talent.
Definitely, he could sneak in from behind any day and take that belt. That's what's so exciting about the EWA. It's not a matter of a champion and a #1 contender. You've got a champion and then a large crop.
That was a vicious elbow. And again, I would not be surprised if Jay DePaulo's jaw hasn't been broken between the drop kick and that elbow.
You know, DePaulo broke a man's neck in his last match, but I'll be curious if he wants to return to EWA after feeling some of these hits.
A knee lift, catches him on the chin. There's the cover, 2.5. Referee was a little bit out of position on that one, and Jason Rage has a right to be upset. Rage sets him up. There's a suplex in the center of the ring, and he's going. No, he doesn't go for the cover. Could be a mistake.
It's been nothing but rage during this match. DePaulo has to find his opening. He may be taking too long here.
He's going up top. Missile drop kick. He calls that the hard up. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Jason Rage taking another step up on that contenders ladder in the lightweight division. Let's take a look at the replay.
Amazing missile dropkick. Jay DePaulo didn't have a chance in this match. That was like the icing on the cake. Jason Rage, the easy 1, 2, 3.
Well, it was just last week that we saw Mr. USA Tony Atlas in the ring explaining to us why he would never, ever take on Master Sandy in the squared circle. Told us a very touching story about his childhood, Josh, that really had me moved. And then, of course, it wasn't but 2 seconds later that Master Sandy and Cowboy Bob Orton, her new henchman, came down and laid a vicious attack on Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. I believe we have footage from last week.
I lost the EWA Heavyweight Championship of the world. And if I got to fight a woman to be champion and go against my morals and my belief and have to relive my father beating my mother, then I would rather retire before I do something like that.
Let's just face it, Atlas, you're not the man that can take care of this woman. Why don't you just go ahead and get down like you should and lick her shoes?
Oh, what is he talking about? The horrible childhood.
Oh, did you, Master Sandy, just let Tony know?
How can you
This is no woman. Tony Atlas says he would never fight him. Oh, this is sick. A clothesline by Bob Orton.
They're Pearl Harboring him. Can we get some help out here? Can we get some help for Tony Atlas?
Look at this. He's going to hold her. And oh, a kick to the abdomen.
Now, I don't know if you know this, Dan, but she has studied kickboxing for many years. She is not letting up.
This is Dave Vicious. Dave Vicious coming to the aid of Tony Atlas, and it's about time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to the ring right now Mr. Bob Orton Jr. Cowboy Bob.
And there you see the entourage led by Rotten Robbie, Master Sandy, the Eastern Wrestling Alliance World Champion, and Cowboy Bob Orton, who she's hired to come in.
You know, those aren't 3 people I'd want to meet in a dark alley. I can think of a couple places I'd like to meet Master Sandy.
I'm sure you could. Bob Orton, a veteran who's fought some of the hardest fought battles that you're ever going to see.
And if you're going to hire a henchman, there's none better than Bob Orton.
Mr. Orton. Mr. Orton, this is your first time in the EWA. Well, you were here last week, and last week you came into the ring. You were with Master Sandy. You interrupted an interview that I had with him, and you called Mr. USA Tony Atlas. You just, what was it you called him?
Boy.
I don't believe it's a boy.
You know what? It's just amazing because when you can come into a place and be associated with such a beautiful and sadistic at the same time woman, I mean, it's great. This woman's a woman of my dreams. She likes to hurt people. I love her for that. It's great. A woman after my own heart.
So am I to understand that you don't follow Mr. USA's idea of a gentleman and you don't hit a woman?
Oh, are you kidding? If a woman would do to me what she has done to Tony Atlas, I'd knock her out. You got to know how to treat a woman, and you got to keep her in her place. Sorry, baby, but that's the way I feel. And you know what? That's the kind of man she needs. A man who will put her in her place.
You have a match coming up later on. Is this how you're going to treat your opponent? Just like that?
I'm going to treat him just as mean and dirty as I can because, see, when you've been around as long as I have, you got to get them, and you got to get them quick, baby. And I'm a master at that. And speaking of masters, let's not forget, Master Sandy is your heavyweight champion.
That is true. Thank you very much, Mr. Orton, for your time. We look forward to your match later on this evening.
You know them kids out there that just yelled, "I suck"? Ain't it a shame they'll never know how well?
Well, there you go.
Bob Orton letting a woman know her place. And Master Sandy, well, you've said it before, and a lot of other people in the EWA have said it. This is no woman.
Well, certainly doesn't deserve to be treated like a lady, because a lady she is not. Absolutely no respect for Tony Atlas, one of the biggest gentlemen I've ever had a chance to meet.
Coming up next, we've got a great match. Veteran Brian Walsh, he's been through these New England Pirates for many, many years, held several titles against a relative newcomer and winner of the EWA Battle Royal held earlier this year, Blue Dream. Let's throw it up to Roadhouse Lou.
Now making his way to the ring from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing in at 230 pounds, here is the Blue Dream.
Blue Dream accompanied to the ring by Orton Robbie. Actually, Blue Dream also been associated with Master Sandy in the past.
Orton Robbie.
Yes, this guy, you would not want to be part of his family tree in wrestling because it's nothing but bad apples.
Blue Dream, a very accomplished tag team wrestler. You mentioned him winning the Tag Team Battle Royal in August.
Yeah, I think that if this guy can keep his head on straight, perhaps he's hanging with the wrong company now, but he's got a lot of talent. And let's see what he can do against Brian Walsh.
Here is Brian Walsh.
Well, certainly, Josh, you're a little more familiar with Brian Walsh than I am, but he has been around New England for quite some time, wrestling for many different organizations.
Yes, during the 80s, he and Robbie Ellis had quite a feud for the ICW Lightweight Championship. This was in the mid-80s, and I don't think he's lost a step either. This is going to be an exciting contest.
Brian Walsh giving up a little bit in weight to the Blue Dream. He goes right into the headlock. And there's an arm lock counter by the Blue Dream. Nice takedown. Very impressed with Brian Walsh. There's an arm drag.
Walsh is one of those wrestlers who's able to take it to you in the air, take it to you on the mat. He'll come at you from all sides, and if the Dream is not ready for this match, he's going to go nowhere.
He connects with an elbow, drops that elbow right across the throat, cutting off the air. Blue Dream is gasping for air in the center of the ring, and Brian Walsh goes up top.
I think he's looking to end it right here. And he might have just ended it for himself. Nobody home.
Misses on the frog splash, and both of these men are out. The referee counting. Both of these guys quite groggy. It's been a very hard-fought match. 1, 2, 3.
What? Who what? What happened? Both their elbows were down.
I don't know who got their elbow up.
What happened? The Blue Dream won. What? No?
No, the referee says Blue Dream is not one.
What happened? Both of their elbows, both of their shoulders were down. Walsh won?
And the veteran gets the win. Blue Dream is furious. Orton Robbie is throwing a tantrum on the ring apron.
From my vantage point, Dan, it looked like both their shoulders were down. How is the referee making the decision that Brian Walsh is the champ?
Well, it looked to me like Brian Walsh got his elbow up just at the very last split second.
Well, I don't know. I think this is one that the EWA committee is going to have to look at and decide if they want to have this stand up or turn it back over to the Blue Dream, because I didn't see any shoulder up by Brian Walsh.
Well, I would certainly have to disagree with you. Blue Dream and Orton Robbie are completely baffled how they let this one get away.
There's nothing like the excitement of a live Eastern Wrestling Alliance event. The action heats up with the superstars of the EWA. Saturday, January 23rd at the Lewiston Armory. The cameras will be rolling as we'll be taping for television. And Saturday, March 6th, again, the Lewiston Armory will be the stage for another live television taping. For tickets, call 897-3618. Catch all the mat-slamming excitement of the EWA live when it comes to your town. It will knock you out.
Been in Japan and Mexico like so many of these wrestlers. KG veteran. This guy means business. Beau Douglas is going to have his hands full.
And wherever you see Cowboy Bob Orton, you're going to find Master Sandy and Rotten Robbie, and that can't bode well for Beau Douglas.
No, it's 3-on-1. You're facing a legend in Bob Orton Jr. You're facing the champion in Master Sandy, and you've also got what's his name? The little guy with the tables running all around the ring. He makes me more mad than anybody here in the EWA.
Well, Cowboy Bob Orton bought and paid for by Master Sandy. And she's hired many henchmen here in the past. King Kong Bundy, and there's a sneak attack by Cowboy Bob Orton before the bell even rings. Elbows right to the back of the skull of Beau Douglas. There's a big right hand. Knees to the stomach. Beau Douglas might have bitten off more than he can chew here in this contest. Orton with a slam. No, he takes it into a backbreaker.
And Orton, now he's finally getting his ring attire off. This guy, years in the ring, still no quit. He wants to take it to all the young guys and let them know that Bob Orton Jr. is still a force to be reckoned with, and he's here for one thing in the EWA, and that's destruction.
And what about that matchup that we're going to have for you next week? Cowboy Bob Orton, after this warm-up match, if you will be squaring off against Tito Santana one-on-one in the center of the ring.
Hey, that's a pick'em. That would be a main event anywhere in the world. These guys, KG ring veterans, I'm definitely going to be here. I know you are because it's in our contract, but if the people watching, if they want to see some great wrestling, they're going to be here every week on Frontier Vision Network 9, especially next week. We got Tito Santana and Cowboy Bob Orton Jr.
Well, Cowboy Bob Orton firmly in control of this match. Beau Douglas trying to mount some offense. As he connects with a couple right hands, temporarily stuns the Cowboy, and he's met with a kick right to the stomach. Knee lift sends Beau Douglas crashing to the mat.
You know, Master Sandy's showing some smarts in hiring Bob Orton. When Roddy Piper, one of the icons of pro wrestling, needed a henchman, who did he go to?
Cowboy Bob Orton.
Sandy is doing some really good company there, and she's showing some smarts in hiring the big Texan.
Knee to the face sends Beau Douglas once again to the mat, and I think he might have lost a tooth there, Jay.
Name's Josh. Name is Josh, not Jay, it's Josh.
My apologies. Certainly just caught up here in the wrestling action. Cowboy Bob Orton sends Beau Douglas up to the top rope, and I believe he's setting him up. Could this be a superplex?
Well, that's his signature move. It appears it's going to be there.
That's all. That's got to be it. Cowboy Bob Orton goes for the cover. He's got a 1, 2, 3.
Somebody help Beau Douglas up.
And your winner, Cowboy Bob Orton!
Master Sandy quite happy. This is a man she's bringing in. She wants him to take out all of the EWA legends, whether it be Tony Atlas, Tito Santana, it doesn't matter. Cowboy Bob Orton not even near being done. There's a pile driver in the middle of the ring.
Sandy's demanding that he beat on this youngster while Rotten Robbie.
Oh, look at this.
Very busy.
The youngster's already been beaten to a pulp, and Master Sandy and now continuing with a vicious attack.
Beau Douglas is going to remember tonight, but I don't think it's going to be one of his better memories.
Oh, she is absolutely sick. Let's go to the replay there.
Off the top rope with the patented superplex, the first guy to do this in pro wrestling, and he still does it the best. Will he be able to get Tito Santana in that maneuver?
Well, that one was academic after the superplex. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this week of the Eastern Wrestling Alliance. Make sure you join us next week. Cowboy Bob Orton, Tito Santana on this very program.
All right, here's how it's gonna work.
The crowd is going nuts.
You're out of control.
Welcome back to the Lewiston Armory. We're here for an exciting week of action. I'm Dan Mason, Josh Shea. There's so many things we need to talk about. First of all, right here in my hand, I've got the EWA Hardcore Championship belt. You've said you want more Brawl Without Law. We are holding a tournament to see exactly who is the king of hardcore. The winner is going to walk away with this belt. It begins next week.
Dan, who cares? This is the last night you're ever going to see Dave Vicious in the EWA. Don't go anywhere. Dave Vicious Hercules, loser leaves town. Guess who's going to be leaving town, dude? Dave Vicious.
Well, that remains to be seen. That matchup is coming up during this broadcast. We're joined right now for commentary by none other than Alexander Worthington III, and I'm going to pass that headset down there to you. A man who's had many, many problems with the Sports Illustrated legend, Robbie Ellis.
Now, we just got this word from the back. Today it was supposed to be Robbie Ellis versus Kid USA, but reportedly, you heard him so bad, Robbie Ellis may be out of wrestling.
Of course he's out of wrestling. I told everybody he was an old man and he didn't belong in the ring with me.
Well, let's update everybody on what went down. Alexander Worthington, you and Dominic attacked Robbie Ellis in the locker room after that matchup where he used the brass knuckles to defeat you. He's out, rotator cuff blown out. He's out of action for probably 3 months.
I know nothing of that. I personally, I went out to my limousine, I relaxed for a little while. I don't know anything about an attack in the locker room.
I gotta tell you, now that Robbie Ellis is gone, you're my favorite rich boy wrestler, man.
You mean I wasn't your favorite rich boy wrestler before?
Well, I'm sorry, I got this.
Why don't you ask him?
I got this tooth thing.
Ask him about some of the things he's been saying about you on TV, Worthington.
I'd love to know some of the things.
Alexander, don't believe a word this guy has to say.
Well, somebody with a haircut like that, I really wouldn't believe anything he had to say.
He's
but
a cheater.
We'll let that go.
Well, here we go. We're in the ring. Kid USA, former light heavyweight champion, ready to square off with Don Rotten. As we said, Don Rotten, a substitution for the Sports Illustrated legend, Robbie Ellis.
And about 50 years younger than Robbie Ellis, too.
Now,
and Kid USA into the rope. A shoulder tackle takes down the big man, Don Rotten. Leapfrog by Rotten. Kid USA off the ropes. He's set for the ride. There's a reversal of the hip toss. Rotten misses with the clothesline. Kid's got him up. Here's a Hurricane Rana in the middle of the ring.
Nice move for a little midget like Kid USA.
Kid USA probably giving up a good 60, 70 pounds in weight to the bigger Don Rotten and able to capitalize here.
Well, this is the first time we've seen Kid USA come back since his injuries, since he lost the belt down in Puerto Rico. I gotta ask you, Alexander, what are you looking at more? The world heavyweight title or the lightweight title?
Oh.
You seem like one of those guys who's a tweener who could go either way.
Oh, well, I could win any title I wanted. To answer your question, both really. But the heavyweight title, of course, is the primary goal. And it really would be a cakewalk. Who's the champion now?
That little tramp Master Sandy.
Well, Don Rotten goes through the table.
Oh, that's cheating.
Hip tossed out of the ring through the table, and he is in a world of hurt.
That's cheating.
You don't need to do anything cheesy like that.
Cheat. It's pure athletic ability. If God made anything better than me, he kept it for himself.
It's kind of funny to hear you say that, Josh. Just a couple of weeks ago, you were saying how Mr. Worthington had no class.
Thanks, dude. I know what he's talking about.
I don't want to have to get violent here.
You should go back and watch the videotapes. Don Rotten trying to mount some offense after taking that table shot. Sunset flip back into the ring, and he's met with a big super kick by Kid USA.
It's been a long time since we've seen Kid USA, Dan. He doesn't seem like he has any ring rust. He seems like he's been working out harder than ever, and he's ready to kick some butt here in the EWA, try to get back that light heavyweight title he talked about last week.
Definitely the best physical condition that we've seen Kid USA in, and we've been following his career for a couple years.
He drinks a lot of milk, that's what I'm told, but maybe I'm wrong.
Don Rotten now mounting the second turnbuckle. Let's see what he's got here. Catapults himself right down onto Kid USA.
That's 3, 2, that's 3.
And
These referees.
Kid USA so resilient, able to kick right out of that. A lesser man would have been pinned some time ago. Don Rotten. He's a tough man. Look at this. Kid USA with a roll-up gets a two count. Don Rotten was just put through a table moments ago, and he's just right back up. There's no quit in this man.
Poor refereeing, though. That fast count on, you know, Rotten's a big guy, big, strong guy. He's not the brightest guy in the world, but then again, no one's as smart as I am. But look, That's it.
Neck breaker, good for a 2 count.
See what I mean? Referee, slow count, fast
Well,
count.
let's talk about refereeing here in the EWA, because it was during that match with Robbie Ellis. Josh saw it, I saw it. Robbie had the brass knuckles.
Yeah.
He hit you with it. Still had it on his hand when he went for the cover.
That was a travesty.
I mean, come on. People can't say I'm lying about this. He hit me in the mouth with brass knuckles.
That was a travesty. We were screaming here at the ref.
Well, certainly you exacted your revenge, Mr. Worthington, with that locker room attack. Robbie Ellis is going to be on the shelf for 3 or 4 months. I imagine there will be a score to be settled once he's back in action, though.
What does it matter? He's 88 years old. He probably won't even be alive by the time he comes back.
Kid USA went to set him up for that airplane spin, and as here goes, we got a reversal by Don Rodney. Gets a 2 count. He goes face first into the turnbuckle.
You know, about Ellis, I guess you don't get to beat up on senior citizens and get away with it very often. So
it was kind of fun, yeah.
And there it is. We've seen that finisher before. Kid USA gonna get the 3 count.
See, now is a count. Now the count is fast. Oh.